Well, Mark Philippoussis, welcome to the Sit Down. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
This is, I think, your first time in what we call Pod Laver Arena. What are your thoughts?
I love the room. Just admiring the posters behind you and around of posters that I've never seen. Actually, I was admiring the one back Kooyong when Aussie Open was at Kooyong, and it's very cool. Nice energy.
Does looking at kind of that era bring back any memories from you of your start in tennis and who inspired you?
Definitely. There's a lot of people up here who've inspired me, and even the Aussies, we've been lucky enough to be so spoiled with legends in the game on men's and the women's side. So a lot have, that's for sure.
Sure. And you are here actually at Melbourne Park, which was sort of the scene of some memorable wins for you. A lot of Australian fans will remember 1996 in particular when you beat Pete Sampras, world number one, under lights on Saturday night. What do you remember of that occasion?
Yeah, it was, when the draw came out, I guess people had already looked at that, and I was one of those players that didn't like to look down the draw. I focused on each match as it came, and didn't even I would tell the press not to ask, if you happen to get in the round of 16 or quarters or anything like that, you might play so-and-so. So I'd always please let them know earlier not to ask a question, regarding, the draw down the line and just who was next. But that was something that I couldn't help but hear and ended up happening. It was incredible. I mean, I was 19, years old. I had nothing to lose playing against the best player in the world. I was playing in my home Grand Slam, my family and friends watching. It was a tournament I grew up watching, a tournament that I remember as a kid walking around, watching the best players in the world train, sitting down on those chairs, watching centre court matches. When this place was first built, I started, in the Victorian Institute of Sport, VIS, training here as a 13, 14-year-old. So I had a lot of time out here, and it felt like home for me, and especially that centre court. And it ended up being an amazing night. My favourite matches are night matches. I feel like the atmosphere is incredible for night matches, and it was for that night. I ended up playing a very solid match and lucky enough to come out with a win.
Seems like a good time to you. You talked about walking around here when you were young. What was your start in tennis? How did you get started?
Almost by accident. My father was playing with a friend of his after work. My family played a little bit. They could hit the ball. And he just happened to be taking care of me that day. Mum was doing something and I was bored, and like any 6-year-old, I couldn't sit still, and he just said, if you sit still and let us play, I'll have a racket for you tomorrow, and we'll go out and play on the court. And I behaved myself, and next day, true to his word, we ended up on the court and hitting balls, and I just fell in love with the game. I was just pestering him always to, after work, can we hit some balls? And that's how it started. I just fell in love with the game, just the fact that it's just you versus that other person on the other side of the court. I think a lot of things that, just drew me to the sport.
Was it always tennis?
It was always tennis. There was no plan B. There was nothing else. I mean, I certainly enjoyed other sports. I think number one sport I enjoyed playing for fun for me was basketball. I just loved the game of basketball. I grew up playing it. I loved watching it. But as far as what I wanted to do with my life, it was from a young age, up probably from the age of 10, 11, it was always tennis for me.
Well, that was a great decision because you went on to have an amazing career, finalist at the US Open in 1998, Wimbledon in 2003, and I guess your standout was Davis Cup. You were featured in 2 winning teams for Australia. Take us through those experiences.
Yeah, so, you're a tennis player in Australia. We've been blessed with so many legends of the game, and 2 things stand out the most is that part of your dream is being part of a Davis Cup winning championship and tie and playing for your country, the green and gold, and Wimbledon was one. Of course, Australian Open is important, but I think we grew up a lot pretty much in grass, the first time putting on those colours, even as an orange boy, going to Russia, when I was 16 years old. Was an incredible experience, watching the boys play, watching them take on Russia. Then finally having the opportunity where I was given my number to represent the country. And, that year, 1999, we were in Nice playing France on clay. We weren't favourites. I don't know if they've given us much of a chance, but the beautiful thing about the Australian team is I feel like what makes us so strong is that we are individuals, but when we come together, we have that one cause, and we come together, and everything we do is as one and a unit. And we're from training to having our breakfast together to having our dinners. The energy is beautiful. It's positive. It's we have one vision and goal, and we came out with a win there. It was an experience and memories I'll never forget. My proudest moment as a tennis player on the court, without a doubt. We had an incredible team, with Leighton by my side and the Woodies. It was very special, and then you got John Newcombe as a captain and Tony Roach as a coach. That's tough to beat, to be quite honest with you. So it was amazing to finally be able to lift up that trophy and as a kid, as a dream of watching. I specifically remember Australia beating Sweden in the final of Kooyong on grass, and Pakash being down 2-0, I think, in a break against Penforce, coming back and winning. That's something that stood out, and I wanted to feel that. I wanted to experience that, and we did that in 1999, away from home, and then we had another opportunity to do that again in 2003 in Melbourne with grass being the surface, where at different circumstances we're out playing at home. We're playing on grass. We're expected to win. I mean, we're playing Spain. I mean, you got some of the best players in the world. Ferreira was number one in the world. Moya, I'm not sure if he was top 5. I mean, incredible team, but more pressure because we are playing at home and on grass. And we happened to have, come away with a win again, and that was a different feeling. It's tough to say better feeling because that first one was so incredibly special, but I think this was maybe a notch more special. The fact that it was at home, in front of a home crowd, and the energy in Melbourne, and the way it was done. I had gotten injured and gotten through, found a way to finish that match, and it was to have two ties wins was something I'll never forget. That's for sure. Yeah,
you say that it's your proudest memory, and with very good reason, because you played incredibly in both those occasions. You won both your matches in France, and then in Australia, as you mentioned, you played through injury and won in 5 sets. So how did you dig so deep?
I think, I know it's because there was nothing else. The priority was leave everything out in the court. This is the most important thing for me. This is the most important thing for the team. And it's so much bigger than yourself. Forget about yourself. Of course, it feels incredible to have done that personally, but to be part of the team, the captain, the coach, and the country, there's a bigger purpose. So you'll do anything, and the second one, I had torn my pec in the start of the third set. I was up 2-0, and I didn't know exactly what I had done, but I knew, I have a high pain threshold. You're always playing with some kind of niggling things as an athlete. You're used to that, but I knew there was something wrong, and it was painful. Any other match, I'm shaking hands. There's no way I'm finishing. There's, maybe if it's the final of a Grand Slam, you get through it, of course, but there was just no way, that mindset, that thought had come across my mind, and ended up being 2 sets all. And I just thought, I've just got 1 set now. I didn't even think about it as 1 set. I just thought, just play 1 point, just get through this point, and then it's the other point, just get through the other point. And all of a sudden, I had to hold serve in the first game of the 5th, I remember, because I lost the third set 6-2 maybe, and the 4th 6-1 really, really fast, and it was all over me. And I I just knew I just needed to hold serve. I just needed to stop that momentum and just hold serve. And it was, I was up, game point, then double fault, another game point. I just held serve. And by that stage, I was in so much pain. I just chip and charge everything. Thank God it was on grass. So, I was chip and charging everything. And I thought if he passes me, then just too good. But I'm just going to chip and charge and come in off everything and just be all over the net. And, I just bopped the ball back, chipped the ball back. And of course, he's, playing a player who he knows is injured. He's not sure what's going on. So it was a difficult circumstance for him as well, and a situation. And I managed to have that break to love. And then I thought, okay, just hold serve. And then all of a sudden there was another break, and I don't know how, but I ended up winning that last set 6-love. And then found out I had a 2 centimeter, a 1.5 centimeter tear in my pec. Yeah, I couldn't lift the trophy in my right hand. I just, pictures, I was just holding it in my left hand, but it was never had, that feeling of being so happy and being so much pain at the same time. But incredible to share that with the crowd. The crowd got me through it. It's very simple as that. The team, having John next to me, the words he was saying, the energy from the crowd. If it wasn't a home tie, if it was that same situation, let's just say Nice, I wouldn't have gotten through. Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing about Davis Cup. That's the beautiful thing about home ties. And they just help you through it. They give you this energy needed and they help you get over the line. And that's what they did that day. Other
standout achievements in your career, of course, were your 2 Grand Slam finals, the US Open in 1998 when you lost to Pat Rafter, and then Roger Federer at 2003 Wimbledon. Those are quite iconic opponents, really. Did you kind of ever have a sense that you were part of tennis history at that point?
I think, I think there's so much going on that you're not thinking in those terms. Obviously, knowing it's a Grand Slam and your goal as any athlete is tennis player is to be a Grand Slam champion. So that first one, I was 21, and that was tough for me because I was playing Pat, who was doubles partner, Davis Cup teammate, and an Australian. So it was very hard where you had that respect and you felt like, maybe wasn't as loud as I should have been and to disrespect someone, and you know what I mean? And I was incredibly nervous at the time. He had won the US Open the year before. It was my first Grand Slam. It was the first year they had that new centre court. The atmosphere was amazing and packed, and I don't know exactly what it holds, but it's a big stadium. And nervous start and just playing someone who I was so close to was difficult for me. And it was 4 sets. There was an opportunity, in that third set. I remember break point, but just, Pat, just the experience and holding his emotions together and just had too much for me that day, and it's strange because, I was young and you're kind of a little, definitely ignorant, thinking I'll have another chance, not realizing how rare it is, how tough it is to get to a final of a Grand Slam, and you might not have another moment, and just telling yourself that, not that I didn't leave everything out there. Of course I left everything out there, but realizing this might be your only shot, and at the end, I think the problem with tennis at times is that there's 2 to 3 tournaments going on at the same time all around the world. So when you lose, it's easy to say, oh, it's next week. You know what I mean? There's no off season. And maybe the same thought, it's different. There's only 4 Grand Slams, but think it's okay. I'll get the next one. Again with being a young, ignorant person, and then you have injuries that set in, this and that, and all of a sudden you find 2003 is a complete different story where I was in the final, and Wimbledon was a place that I was the most comfortable because it was grass. It suited my game the most. I love playing on grass. And there was a lot of things that happened. The fact that I had my 3rd knee surgery, and up until that point, they said I'll never play professional tennis. So I knew how hard I'd work to prove them wrong and to come back. I wasn't seeded. I just kind of quietly made my way through the draw. And then to play Roger in the finals, it was I think over a month ago, I played him in the German Open. I think I beat him round of 16 when he was the defending champion there. So I beat him in 3 sets. And then, so like no one had heard of him. He was 4 in the world. He had won plenty of tournaments and Master Series events. But this was his first Grand Slam final. And of course, everyone knew the talent that he possessed and how good he was. But I felt like this was my opportunity. This I was the favorite on that day. And a couple of things that stood out was that walk, that famous walk from the locker room to the center court. That was something I remember watching as a kid. And to have experienced that is truly incredible. And walking on that court finals where you walk out and the crowd erupts, everyone's already in their seats. There's not a seat free. Get still goosebumps to the day thinking about that. And at the end of the day, just this is what I've worked my whole life for. This is, to play on that center court is incredibly special. Is one thing. To play on that center court, the last match on that Sunday is what you trained for as a kid. 2 weeks, of making my way to, it's 7 best of 5 set matches to win a Grand Slam. So you play 6 matches to get there best of 5, and to have gone so close and not being able to do it was mixed emotions. Very difficult to watch that opponent make that climb that I saw Pat Cash do as a kid, that I visualized myself doing. You look, but you don't want to look, and then they do a lap with that trophy, and it's tough. It's not easy. I was very proud of myself, obviously, but that one really hurt because I knew how special and rare these moments are, and I knew what I had done, for myself in a position to try and get to that final. So that one was tough, because the reality is no one remembers the runner-up. You go to those tournaments and the names are of the champions there forever. You don't see the name of who got in the finals that year. So that's the reality of it. And so that was tough. That was an incredible couple of weeks, but tough because, I go there every year to play the Legends tournament, and I always stare up at that 2003 year, and wonder what if, or I don't know why I keep staring, because it's not going to change. It's always going to be Roger Federer up there. But that one was tough. That one hurt.
Yeah. I mean, you say that no one remembers the runner-up, but I think lots of people do. And so few players can say that they've done that. So there must be a lot of pride in that as well.
Oh, look, I am very proud. I say this to keep it very simple. If I was 10 years old and my guardian angel came to me and goes, you will become a professional athlete, your dream will come true. You're playing on the tour, you'll be top 10, you'll win many tournaments, you'll play in all the best center courts in the world, you step on all of them, and you'll end up winning 2 Davis Cups for your country and losing 2 Grand Slam finals, but you'll stop playing at the age of 29 because of injuries. I'd be like, where do I sign up?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So don't get me wrong, for sure. I'm incredibly proud, and not only of what I've not achieved, but the people I've met, the life I've had, and the life it continues to give me, and the doors it continues to open up. It's an incredible sport. It's still a big part of my life, and I love it. I have fallen in love with it all over again. In a different capacity. Now we truly get to enjoy and experience the sport where, when you're locked in and traveling, it's very easy to get caught up and I don't want to say not love it, but maybe fall out in love at times, because it is not the glamour of what everyone you would think. And reality sets in a lot of the time, living out of a suitcase, being away from your family, being away from the people you love, in a hotel. So that at times can struggle. So you got to find reasons to keep going and that are bigger than that, and that's why you could, to continue to have those goals and those dreams. But now, like I said, I've, fallen in love with the sport all over again, and I really get to appreciate and experience cities for the first time. Like this, to be able to walk around at the Australian Open, see what they've built outside, walk around with the fans, and experience what they've created is a beautiful thing. You never get to do that before. You can't walk around, you thinking about your match, and you don't want your legs to get heavy, and you got to be focused and all that. So, yeah.
Yeah. It was in many ways, I mean, you were known for your big serve, but it was in many ways a career of resilience for you. You mentioned your 3 knee surgeries earlier. What do you think were the most important qualities that you had?
Yeah, look, I ended up having 6 knee surgeries, but 3 in each knee. But I think what I love most about tennis is it truly is like life, very similar to life. You're cruising in a match, you're up a set in the break, serving for it, you relax, you get a little cocky, and end up in a locker room, losing the match, and like, what happened? How did I lose that match? Other times you're struggling, you can't find the center of the racket, you're struggling just to hold serve, you've lost the first set, you're down a break and thinking, just hold serve, make him serve out the game. Just, he might get nervous, see if I can get the first point of that game, that's the return of serve game, and you end up winning that match, and then that all of a sudden that first round you're struggling for a month, 2 months, and then you end up winning the tournament, and it changes everything for you. It's I think it feels very much like life. You just keep on battling away, you keep on believing, keep on dreaming, and that's what I love about the sport. Just those injuries taught me to be strong, and I think sometimes when you have something and someone says it could be taken away or it will be taken away, you just refuse to believe that, and you say no, it won't be, and then it takes you to another place, to find that power, that strength that you need. And for instance, when I was hurt for that Davis Cup final, because he was bigger than me, and if it was just me, I wouldn't have won that last set. Like I said, if it wasn't Davis Cup, I wouldn't have won that last set because there was a bigger reason for me. The pain didn't matter because whatever it was, I'll have to deal with it after the match, but I've got to find a way to win this. That means having surgery and taking 2 months. Well, if I can win this, then that surgery is worth it, because of the injury I had. So I think like life for me personally, when I have something else that's bigger than me, like for instance now, my family, my kids, my wife, then I'm gladly willing to take the knocks, and the hits, because there's that bigger picture in mind.
It actually leads perfectly to my next question, which is what is life like for you now? I know that you are still very heavily involved in tennis, but what else do you enjoy in life now?
Well, the family is my number one priority. Like kids are, growing very quickly. My son is 11. My daughter just turned 7. They're very much involved. My son is involved in sports. He's chosen basketball. Right. He was doing tennis and basketball, and I asked him, I think just over a year and a half ago, if you can pick one sport, what does he love playing? And he said basketball, which to be honest, I was relieved. I don't know if I could have gone through tennis twice in my life. No matter how amazing it is, I think watching my son, being a coach and watching your son would have been tough for me. So I'm really happy he chose basketball. Like I mentioned earlier, I love the sport. I love the game. So he's actually got the VC under 12s Grand Finals on this Friday. My daughter, she's I think very much a girly girl. She loves drawing, loves creating things. She's dancing classes, gymnastics, so all that kind of stuff. Plays a little bit of tennis, but she plays basketball Saturday mornings as well. And we're lucky enough we live in Torquay. It's a beautiful, relaxing lifestyle there. And then launching a clothing line that I've been working on for quite a few years. And my wife designed the women's line, I designed the men's.
Must be great to draw on your tennis experience in that endeavour as well.
Yeah, I mean, my whole life is wearing active wear and I very much have a creative side to me, and I just feel like using that with just creating the clothing line, which is called As We Create, and it's active wear, and focusing on the fabric is the most important thing, because I think at the end of the day when I put a piece of clothing on, or I think everyone does, I'll go to whatever is the most comfortable, is very important. So we're just focused on number one is the fabric and being all day and comfortable, and just those silhouettes that you can wear all day, whether you're going to the gym or going to have coffee or going to a meeting, is a piece of clothing that you're comfortable and happy that looks good as well. So, a lot is going on, but I love being busy.
And how much do you enjoy watching tennis these days?
I very much do. Especially you got these matches, you got the Sinner and Alcaraz, every time those two are playing against each other, I just feel like they're incredible ambassadors for the sport, and we're very lucky to have them, because I think we got a little worried there when Rafa, and Federer and Djokovic Djokovic is still, hopefully we got him for another year, but to have two figures like that, that incredible roles for the game of tennis is amazing, and I just enjoy watching the games, especially, I sat and watched Davis Cup over the weekend. Unfortunately, it wasn't the result we wanted, but I was glued to my TV watching that, and so I definitely do enjoy it, especially if it's certain players going at it. Even the women's I've really been enjoying. I'm watching just as much women's tennis as the men's, and I feel like the tennis has just been incredible from the women. They've taken it to another level. The power that these players have, and Sabalenka, she's been dominating it, and I think she's at the average, her hitting speed's higher than the men's. I think it was at US Open, which is incredible. And so I've just been enjoying watching both. They've had some good matches lately, and it's been great to watch. And
you spent some time coaching. You coached Stefanos Tsitsipas for a period. Is there any player that you would love to coach now?
You know what? I really enjoyed it was almost 2 years I was traveling with Tsitsipas, and I enjoyed my time with him. I think the connection of, that Greek background that I have, I speak Greek, so I was able to communicate with him in Greek. It was an incredible experience, to be honest. Very stressful, a lot easier playing than coaching, where you can control what you're doing, whereas coaching, you have no control. Of course, you're just, the whole point is your goal is to get them ready as much as possible on the practice court, warming up for the match, and prepare them as much as they can, so they can step out and do what they have to do. So it was very, very nerve-wracking, to be honest with you. I enjoyed very much the experience. I think for the future is something that traveling, also being away from the family for me was very, very difficult. So it's not something that I'm interested in pursuing again, being on the tour. Especially now where I am in my life, I just don't like missing out on things with my family, on birthdays or events. So, but that was something that I really enjoyed at the time.
Sure. And when you sort of look back on tennis, do you sort of ever think about how much it changed your life?
Oh, definitely. There's a lot of times when I'll look back and something will come up, a picture, or I see that where I'll flash back in memories, and honestly, at times it feels like it was another life, and it was so not just also so long ago, but just a different life, a different version of me, to be honest, and something that I look back with pride and fondness, and something that I can take away a lot of things and learn from, to be honest with you, and that I still do. And I'm in a place where I talk about this at times, where that was an incredible, I lived my life. I'm very blessed, the life that I had. A lot of things I can take away and learn from that can make me a better version of who I am now, or a better husband, a father, and a better human, that I can learn from. So I'm blessed that I had that opportunity, and blessed that I had that lifestyle, and the things that I did, and I just feel like I'm even luckier now than I was back then, and where I am now in my life. And like I said, looking back, I've learned a lot from that, and that helped me in my situations now, and certain decisions I'm making, and where I am in my life.
Well, that actually seems like the perfect note to finish on. So, Mark Philippoussis, thank you so much for your time today.
Well, thank you for having me.